Building lasting, meaningful relationships is a journey that requires both emotional openness and resilience. While vulnerability often gets a bad reputation as a source of weakness, it is, in fact, one of the most powerful tools for creating deep emotional connections. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy focused on emotional resilience, self-control, and rationality, provides a valuable framework for navigating the complexities of love and relationships. By combining the Stoic principles of emotional balance, acceptance of what we cannot control, and virtue, we can embrace vulnerability in a way that strengthens our relationships rather than leaves us exposed to hurt. In a world that often encourages emotional defense mechanisms, Stoicism teaches us that vulnerability is not something to be feared, but something to be approached with courage and wisdom. It allows us to open our hearts without losing our sense of self, fostering trust and intimacy with our partners. This powerful combination of stoicism and vulnerability creates a foundation for love that is not only enduring, but also resilient in the face of challenges. In this exploration, we will delve into how Stoic values and vulnerability work together to build relationships that are authentic, supportive, and long-lasting, ensuring that love can thrive despite life's uncertainties. Number 1. The power of vulnerability in love. How Stoicism encourages authentic connections. Vulnerability in love is often perceived as a weakness, a doorway to hurt or betrayal. Many fear that revealing their true selves may invite judgment, rejection, or disappointment. However, when viewed through the lens of Stoicism, vulnerability transforms into a powerful tool for building authentic connections that are deeply rooted in trust, resilience, and personal growth. The Stoic philosophy, which centers on emotional mastery, self-awareness, and acceptance of life's inevitable hardships, offers profound insights into how vulnerability can strengthen relationships rather than weaken them. By understanding how Stoic teachings relate to vulnerability, we can explore how embracing our emotional openness in relationships leads to stronger, more resilient bonds. At the heart of Stoicism is the notion of accepting things we cannot control while focusing on how we react to them. In the context of love, this idea holds transformative potential. Emotions such as fear, anxiety, and insecurity often act as barriers that prevent us from fully opening up to others. We may worry about being judged, misunderstood, or abandoned, so we build walls to protect ourselves. However, these walls also prevent true intimacy. Vulnerability, while inherently risky, is the key to dissolving these barriers. Stoicism teaches us that our emotional responses are not dictated by external circumstances, but by our own perceptions and judgments. By adopting a Stoic mindset, we can reframe vulnerability not as a source of weakness, but as an opportunity for strength to be open, to show who we truly are without fear of judgment. Vulnerability becomes not a liability, but an act of courage that enables us to connect with others on a deeper, more meaningful level. A critical aspect of Stoicism is the pursuit of emotional resilience. The Stoics believed that we should not be slaves to our emotions, but rather masters of them. This emotional mastery is not about suppressing emotions or denying our feelings. It's about learning to navigate them with wisdom and composure. Vulnerability, by its very nature, invites an emotional experience that can feel intense, uncertain, and sometimes painful. But Stoicism teaches us that these emotional experiences are part of life's ebb and flow. They are not to be feared or avoided, but understood and integrated into our understanding of ourselves. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open ourselves to the full spectrum of human experience, joy, love, pain, and sorrow, without letting those emotions dictate our actions or self-worth. In relationships, this emotional resilience allows us to remain grounded even when vulnerability brings discomfort or risk. By leaning into our vulnerability, we foster a relationship dynamic based on mutual trust and emotional strength, not perfection or guardedness. Trust is a cornerstone of any lasting relationship, and vulnerability plays a pivotal role in building that trust. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of focusing on what we can control and releasing attachment to what we cannot. In relationships, this concept applies to how we present ourselves to others. While we cannot control how others may respond to our vulnerabilities, we can control our willingness to open up. Trust grows when we take the risk of being authentic, sharing our true selves, our fears, desires, flaws, and strengths, without the expectation of perfection. Vulnerability, when approached from a Stoic mindset, is an invitation to be honest and transparent, knowing that the process of sharing ourselves may not always be met with immediate acceptance. Yet, the act of being vulnerable is itself a demonstration of trust, a commitment to being seen and understood. By showing vulnerability, we create a space where both partners can engage in mutual openness, free from the fear of judgment or rejection. Number 2, Stoicism and Love. Building strong relationships through emotional resilience. In relationships, emotional resilience is the cornerstone of enduring love, and Stoicism provides invaluable insights on how to cultivate this resilience. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that we cannot always control external events, but we can control how we respond to them. This concept is essential in love, where emotional challenges, misunderstandings, and moments of vulnerability can often test the strength of a relationship. Stoicism teaches that love, like all aspects of life, involves accepting hardships, facing them with equanimity, and learning from them rather than allowing them to weaken or define us. By adopting a Stoic approach, we can build relationships that are not fragile or based on fleeting emotions, but rather resilient and grounded in deeper understanding and mutual respect. Emotional resilience, as taught by Stoicism, involves understanding that negative emotions such as anger, jealousy, or disappointment are not inherently harmful. It is how we react to them that defines their impact on our relationships. Rather than reacting impulsively to emotional triggers, Stoicism encourages us to pause and reflect, gaining clarity and perspective before responding. This practice of mindful response strengthens relationships by preventing emotional outbursts that can damage trust or create distance. In the context of love, practicing emotional resilience helps partners stay calm and composed during moments of conflict or emotional intensity. Instead of allowing misunderstandings or disagreements to escalate into something destructive, a Stoic mindset enables individuals to approach these situations with rationality, ensuring that communication remains open and constructive. Another fundamental principle of Stoicism in the context of love is the idea of self-control. In romantic relationships, self-control allows individuals to maintain their composure and act thoughtfully even in the face of emotional stress. When one partner experiences difficult emotions, the other can remain grounded and supportive, preventing a downward spiral of negativity. This balance of self-control and empathy is essential for sustaining long-term relationships. The Stoic practice of focusing on one's own thoughts and behaviors, rather than attempting to control the actions of others, encourages partners to work on their emotional well-being individually. By doing so, they bring a sense of emotional stability and strength to the relationship, creating an environment where both partners can thrive and support each other. One of the most powerful aspects of Stoic philosophy in relationships is the emphasis on acceptance. Stoicism teaches us to accept both the positive and negative aspects of life without being unduly attached to them. This acceptance allows individuals to approach their relationships with a sense of realism, understanding that love is not always easy or perfect. Through acceptance, partners can learn to embrace each other's flaws and imperfections, fostering a deeper, more compassionate bond. In a Stoic relationship, love is not contingent on idealized expectations or superficial appearances, but on a mutual understanding of each other's humanity. This acceptance helps individuals navigate difficult times, such as personal challenges or external pressures, with grace and patience. Furthermore, Stoicism encourages individuals to see adversity as an opportunity for growth. In love, challenges such as miscommunication, conflict, or even external hardships can feel overwhelming. However, the Stoic perspective views these challenges as a chance to strengthen the relationship by learning and growing together. Emotional resilience, as taught by Stoicism, enables individuals to approach difficult situations with a mindset of curiosity and learning rather than frustration or defeat. Each obstacle faced together becomes an opportunity for the couple to deepen their connection, improve their communication, and strengthen their emotional bond. By viewing challenges through the lens of growth, partners are better equipped to face future difficulties with the confidence that they can overcome them together. The Stoic practice of detachment also plays a crucial role in building emotional resilience in relationships. While detachment in Stoicism does not mean emotional withdrawal, it does involve cultivating a sense of inner peace that is not dependent on external circumstances or the actions of others. In the context of love, detachment means being able to maintain a sense of emotional stability and self-worth, regardless of the ups and downs that naturally occur in any relationship. When partners can detach themselves from the emotional volatility that often accompanies romantic love, they are better able to act from a place of reason and understanding rather than being swept away by emotional turbulence. This detachment, rooted in Stoic wisdom, allows individuals to remain grounded in their values and principles, even when faced with challenges in their relationship. Lastly, Stoicism teaches the importance of virtue in all aspects of life, including love. Virtue, in the Stoic sense, refers to living in accordance with wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. In relationships, these virtues are essential for building a strong, resilient bond. Wisdom guides partners to make thoughtful decisions. Justice ensures fairness and respect in the relationship. Courage allows them to face challenges together, and moderation helps maintain balance and harmony. By embodying these virtues, partners create a relationship that is not only emotionally resilient, but also rooted in a deep sense of integrity and mutual respect. Number 3. Authenticity in love. Why Stoic values lead to deeper and more meaningful relationships. Authenticity in love is often considered the key to building strong and lasting relationships. In a world where superficiality and facades are common, being able to show your true self can create a deeper, more meaningful connection with another person. Stoicism, with its emphasis on self-awareness, integrity, and emotional resilience, provides valuable guidance on how to embrace authenticity in love. At its core, Stoicism teaches individuals to live according to their true nature, without the need for pretenses or false identities. By incorporating Stoic values into romantic relationships, individuals are able to foster an environment where honesty, vulnerability, and trust can flourish, leading to deeper, more fulfilling connections. One of the central tenets of Stoicism is the pursuit of wisdom and self-awareness. To live authentically in a relationship, it is essential to understand who you truly are, your values, beliefs, strengths, and weaknesses. Stoicism encourages constant self-reflection, urging individuals to examine their emotions, thoughts, and actions. By gaining a deeper understanding of oneself, a person can more fully embrace their authentic self in a relationship without fear of judgment or rejection. This self-awareness allows individuals to communicate openly with their partners, express their true needs and desires, and approach the relationship with honesty and clarity. Authenticity in love, as guided by Stoic principles, means being able to show up as your real self without trying to conform to what you think your partner wants or expects. At the same time, Stoicism teaches that the only thing we can control is our own behavior and mindset. In love, this principle can be incredibly freeing. It allows individuals to release the pressure of trying to control their partner's actions, reactions, or feelings. Instead, Stoic values encourage individuals to focus on how they show up in the relationship, how they express their emotions, and how they support their partner. By letting go of the need to control external factors, individuals are better able to embrace vulnerability and authenticity. They can share their true selves, knowing that their worth is not contingent on their partner's approval or validation. This creates a space where both partners can be authentic, knowing they are loved and accepted for who they truly are, without fear of pretense or performance. Another key Stoic value that fosters authenticity in love is the idea of living in accordance with virtue. Stoics believe that virtue is the highest good, and it encompasses qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. In relationships, these virtues guide individuals toward actions that are not only authentic, but also ethical and honorable. Wisdom enables partners to make thoughtful decisions, ensuring that their actions align with their true values. Courage allows individuals to face difficult conversations or situations with their partner, even when vulnerability or discomfort is involved. Justice ensures that both partners are treated with fairness and respect, creating a balanced and harmonious relationship. Moderation prevents excess or extremes, fostering a healthy, balanced dynamic. By embracing these virtues, partners can cultivate an authentic relationship grounded in shared values and a commitment to mutual growth and respect. The Stoic practice of accepting what we cannot control also plays a crucial role in fostering authenticity in love. In any relationship, there will be challenges and uncertainties, emotional highs and lows, disagreements, and moments of doubt. Stoicism teaches that we should not let external events or circumstances dictate our emotional responses. Instead, we are encouraged to accept whatever happens with equanimity, focusing on what we can control, our reactions. This acceptance allows individuals to remain grounded in their authenticity, even during difficult times. Rather than becoming reactive or defensive in the face of conflict, Stoicism encourages partners to respond thoughtfully, remaining true to themselves and their values. In this way, the practice of accepting what is beyond our control allows for greater emotional resilience and authenticity in relationships, as individuals learn to maintain their integrity no matter the external circumstances. Moreover, authenticity in love is also nurtured by Stoicism's emphasis on emotional resilience. Love is a dynamic and evolving experience, and partners will inevitably face moments of vulnerability, disappointment, and hurt. Stoicism teaches that suffering is an inevitable part of life, but it is how we choose to respond to it that defines our growth. Emotional resilience allows partners to navigate the inevitable ups and downs of love without losing their sense of self or authenticity. Instead of allowing negative emotions to dictate behavior or cause disconnection, Stoicism encourages individuals to stay grounded in their values, process their emotions in a healthy way, and move forward with clarity and composure. This emotional resilience enables both partners to remain true to themselves, even when faced with challenges, creating a relationship that is not fragile or dependent on ideal circumstances, but strong and enduring. In relationships, authenticity is not just about expressing emotions honestly, but also about maintaining boundaries that reflect our true needs and desires. Stoicism teaches the importance of self-control and self-respect, which extends to maintaining boundaries that honor our own well-being. By practicing Stoic virtues such as moderation and wisdom, individuals can set boundaries that preserve their authenticity while also fostering a healthy, respectful relationship dynamic. Authenticity in love means knowing when to say yes and when to say no, being able to communicate your needs clearly, and prioritizing self-respect without fear of disappointing your partner. This mutual respect for each other's boundaries creates a relationship built on trust, where both partners feel safe to be their true selves. Finally, embracing authenticity and love through Stoic values also means learning to embrace imperfection. In a culture that often promotes idealized images of love and perfection, Stoicism encourages individuals to accept the flaws and imperfections in themselves and their partners. Stoics believe that the pursuit of virtue and wisdom is a lifelong journey, and that growth comes from embracing our limitations and learning from them. In love, this means accepting that no relationship is without its challenges, and no person is without faults. By approaching love with the understanding that both partners are works in progress, Stoicism fosters an environment of compassion, patience, and mutual growth. This acceptance of imperfection allows partners to maintain their authenticity without the burden of trying to meet unrealistic expectations. Number 4. The role of emotional control in love. How Stoicism can prevent heartbreak. Emotional control is one of the most powerful tools we can use in relationships to prevent unnecessary heartbreak and cultivate enduring love. While emotions are natural and important in any romantic connection, unchecked emotions can often lead to impulsive decisions, misunderstandings, and ultimately heartbreak. Stoicism, with its emphasis on self-mastery and emotional resilience, offers valuable insights into how we can gain control over our emotions, especially in the complex and often turbulent landscape of love. By applying Stoic principles to our romantic relationships, we can avoid the extremes of emotional reactivity, develop deeper emotional intelligence, and protect ourselves from the unnecessary pain that often accompanies love when emotions spiral out of control. One of the foundational teachings of Stoicism is the idea that we cannot control external events, but we can control our reactions to them. In the context of love, this principle is crucial. Love, sometimes sadness. However, Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control how our partner acts or how they make us feel, we can control how we respond to those emotions. When we encounter emotional turmoil in a relationship, Stoicism encourages us to pause, reflect, and choose a rational response rather than reacting impulsively or letting our emotions dictate our actions. This mindful approach to emotions allows us to navigate challenges in love with greater clarity and composure, reducing the likelihood of emotional outbursts that could damage the relationship. A key aspect of emotional control in Stoicism is the practice of self-reflection. Stoics believe that understanding our emotions and the underlying thoughts behind them is essential for mastering emotional responses. In a relationship, this means being able to recognize when negative emotions arise, such as jealousy, insecurity, or anger, and understanding the root cause of those feelings. Is it a fear of abandonment, a past hurt, or perhaps a projection of our own insecurities? By engaging in self-reflection, we can uncover the true source of our emotions and address them more effectively. Instead of allowing these emotions to control our behavior or cloud our judgment, we can take a step back, analyze the situation, and decide on a response that aligns with our values and the well-being of the relationship. This level of emotional awareness allows us to prevent impulsive decisions or reactions that could lead to heartbreak. Another Stoic principle that helps prevent heartbreak is detachment. While detachment may sound counterintuitive in the context of love, it is important to understand that Stoic detachment does not mean withdrawing or becoming emotionally cold. Rather, it refers to cultivating a sense of inner peace and emotional stability that is not dependent on the actions or feelings of others. In relationships, this means learning not to become overly attached to outcomes or expectations, especially those beyond our control. For instance, we may love deeply and invest ourselves fully in a relationship, but we must also accept that we cannot control how the other person feels or behaves. By detaching ourselves from the need for constant validation or approval from our partner, we free ourselves from emotional dependency and the potential heartbreak that comes from placing our happiness solely in the hands of another person. This allows for a healthier, more balanced dynamic in love, where both partners can grow individually while still sharing a meaningful connection. Stoicism also teaches the importance of accepting what we cannot control. In love, there are many variables that are beyond our control: our partner's feelings, their actions, or even the direction in which the relationship is headed. Rather than allowing these uncontrollable factors to dictate our emotional state, Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and responses. If a relationship is not progressing the way we had hoped, or if we face challenges that seem insurmountable, Stoicism teaches us to accept these circumstances with grace and composure, without succumbing to emotional despair. Instead of investing our energy in resisting what is out of our control, we can shift our focus to how we can adapt, learn, and grow from the experience. This acceptance not only helps prevent unnecessary heartache, but also fosters a sense of emotional resilience, allowing us to handle relationship challenges more gracefully. Emotional resilience is a key element of emotional control, and it is one of the primary benefits. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to approach love with realistic expectations. One of the major causes of heartbreak in romantic relationships is the disparity between our expectations and reality. Often, we expect our partners to fulfill all of our emotional needs or to behave in ways that align with our ideals. When these expectations are not met, we can feel hurt, betrayed, or disappointed. Stoicism teaches us to accept that no person is perfect and no relationship is free from difficulties. By embracing a more realistic view of love, where imperfections and challenges are seen as natural and inevitable, we can prevent the emotional shock and devastation that comes from unmet expectations. This realistic approach to love fosters patience, acceptance, and deeper connection, all of which are crucial for long-term happiness in relationships. In addition to emotional resilience and acceptance, Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of self-control. In the context of love, self-control involves maintaining balance and avoiding emotional extremes. Love can stir up powerful emotions, but Stoicism teaches us not to be swept away by passion or frustration. Self-control allows us to maintain a sense of emotional equilibrium even in the heat of the moment. This means not reacting impulsively to jealousy, anger, or frustration, and instead taking a step back to assess the situation. By exercising self-control, we prevent ourselves from making rash decisions that could lead to hurtful words or actions, which in turn helps safeguard the relationship from unnecessary conflict and heartbreak. Number 5. Vulnerability and trust. Why Stoicism teaches us to open our hearts in relationships. Vulnerability and trust are often seen as the pillars of strong, intimate relationships, yet many individuals shy away from being vulnerable due to fear of rejection, hurt, or emotional exposure. Stoicism, traditionally viewed as a philosophy of emotional control and rational detachment, offers valuable insights into why we should embrace vulnerability and trust in our relationships. Contrary to popular belief, Stoicism does not advocate for emotional suppression. Rather, it encourages emotional wisdom, self-awareness, and openness to the natural flow of human experience, including the vulnerability that comes with love and connection. By applying Stoic principles, individuals can cultivate a mindset that allows them to open their hearts to others without losing their emotional integrity, fostering deeper connections built on trust, mutual respect, and emotional resilience. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is the idea that we cannot control external events or the actions of others, but we can control how we respond to them. This principle is particularly important when it comes to vulnerability in relationships. To be vulnerable is to expose oneself emotionally, which inherently involves risk. We open our hearts, knowing that we cannot control whether our feelings will be reciprocated, whether our partner will understand us, or whether the relationship will endure. However, Stoicism teaches that the fear of potential negative outcomes, such as rejection or heartache, should not prevent us from being authentic and open in our relationships. Instead of allowing fear to dictate our behavior, Stoicism encourages us to embrace vulnerability as a natural part of the human experience. By letting go of the need to control or protect ourselves from emotional discomfort, we can approach love with greater courage, honesty, and authenticity. Trust is another essential element of vulnerability, and Stoicism emphasizes the importance of trusting in the process of life, as well as in our own capacity for emotional resilience. Trusting others, especially in romantic relationships, requires letting go of the need to control or manipulate outcomes. Stoics believe that we should trust in the principles of virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation, both in ourselves and in others. By practicing these virtues, we develop the strength to trust in our partners and the process of the relationship, even when things are uncertain or challenging. Stoicism teaches that trust is not about blind faith or expecting perfection, but about recognizing that love, like life, is inherently imperfect. Trust is built not on guarantees, but on a foundation of shared values and mutual respect. This trust allows us to be vulnerable because we know that we are not alone in facing life's uncertainties. We have a partner who is also committed to living virtuously and facing challenges with resilience. One of the main reasons people hesitate to open their hearts is the fear of being hurt. Stoicism, however, teaches us to accept that pain is an inevitable part of life. In relationships, emotional pain may arise from misunderstandings, disappointments, or even the eventual end of a connection. Yet, Stoics believe that we should not let the fear of future pain prevent us from experiencing the full richness of love and connection in the present. By adopting a mindset that sees pain as a natural, temporary part of life, we can approach vulnerability with a sense of acceptance and courage. Instead of avoiding vulnerability to protect ourselves from potential hurt, Stoicism encourages us to embrace the possibility of pain as an opportunity for growth, understanding, and emotional resilience. In this way, we learn that our vulnerability does not diminish us. Rather, it strengthens our ability to endure and grow through the challenges of life and love. The Stoic concept of detachment also plays an important role in fostering vulnerability and trust. While detachment in Stoicism often refers to the practice of not being overly attached to external outcomes, it also means being able to maintain inner peace and emotional balance, regardless of what happens in our relationships. This does not mean withdrawing emotionally, but rather cultivating a sense of self-sufficiency and resilience that allows us to remain true to ourselves, even in the face of emotional challenges. By practicing detachment, we can let go of the need to control how others feel or behave, and instead focus on our own emotional well-being. This enables us to open our hearts to others without becoming overly dependent on their reactions or approval. Trust, in this context, is built on the understanding that we are capable of maintaining our emotional integrity regardless of the outcome, which allows us to be more open, honest, and vulnerable with our partners. Furthermore, Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and self-control in relationships, both of which are essential for building trust and vulnerability. To be vulnerable in a relationship, we must first understand our own emotional needs, fears, and desires. Self-awareness allows us to recognize when we are holding back or when we are not being fully honest with ourselves or our partners. By acknowledging our own emotional landscape, we can communicate more openly and authentically, making it easier to build trust and intimacy. Self-control, on the other hand, helps us manage our emotional responses in moments of tension or conflict. In relationships, misunderstandings and disagreements are inevitable, but Stoicism teaches us to respond thoughtfully and calmly, rather than reacting impulsively. By practicing self-control, we can create a safe space for vulnerability, where both partners feel comfortable expressing their true selves without fear of judgment or conflict. The Stoic value of virtue also plays a critical role in building trust and vulnerability in relationships. By living virtuously, acting with wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation, we create a foundation of integrity and respect in our relationships. When both partners embody these virtues, they naturally build trust and deepen their emotional connection. Virtue, in this sense, is not just about individual character, but also about creating a relationship dynamic that is based on mutual respect and shared values. Trust grows when both individuals act with honesty, fairness, and care, allowing vulnerability to flourish in a safe and supportive environment. In relationships grounded in virtue, both partners feel secure enough to open their hearts, knowing that their vulnerability will be met with compassion, understanding, and emotional support. Number 6. Self-love and Stoicism. How understanding yourself leads to stronger romantic bonds. Self-love is often misunderstood as narcissism or selfishness, but in reality, it is a crucial foundation for healthy, enduring relationships. When we talk about self-love, we are referring to the practice of respecting, accepting, and caring for ourselves in a way that fosters emotional well-being and personal growth. Stoicism, with its emphasis on self-awareness, virtue, and emotional resilience, provides a framework for cultivating true self-love. By understanding ourselves through a Stoic lens, we not only improve our own emotional health, but also build stronger, more fulfilling romantic relationships. The ability to love ourselves authentically and without excessive dependence on others is essential for forming bonds that are rooted in respect, trust, and mutual support. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that happiness and emotional well-being are within our control. According to Stoic philosophy, we cannot always control the actions of others or the circumstances of life, but we can control how we respond to them. This control begins with understanding ourselves, our emotions, our values, and our strengths and weaknesses. By practicing self-awareness, we can identify the areas of our lives that need attention, healing, or growth. This deep understanding of who we are helps us establish boundaries, make decisions that align with our values, and foster relationships that are supportive rather than draining. In the context of romantic relationships, self-love means recognizing that we do not need to be validated by a partner to feel complete. Rather, we seek a relationship that complements our self-sufficiency and adds value to our lives. Self-love through Stoicism also involves accepting ourselves with all of our imperfections. Stoic philosophers taught that we should embrace our flaws and limitations with grace, as they are part of what makes us human. In romantic relationships, this acceptance allows us to approach our partner with empathy and understanding, rather than placing unrealistic expectations on them to fulfill all of our emotional needs. When we understand and accept ourselves, we are less likely to project our insecurities or unmet needs onto others. This self-acceptance helps us communicate openly and honestly with our partner, reducing the likelihood of misunderstandings and emotional conflicts. By practicing self-compassion and being comfortable in our own skin, we become more attractive and approachable, fostering a relationship built on mutual respect and trust. Furthermore, Stoicism teaches us the importance of self-control and emotional resilience in the pursuit of self-love. In romantic relationships, emotional reactivity can be a major source of tension and conflict. A Stoic approach to love encourages us to manage our emotional responses thoughtfully and to avoid being swept away by intense feelings. This emotional regulation is not about suppressing or denying our emotions, but about responding to them in a calm and rational manner. When we are able to control our impulses, we avoid making rash decisions that could harm the relationship. This sense of emotional balance also allows us to deal with difficult situations in a relationship with a clear mind, whether it's a disagreement or a moment of uncertainty. By cultivating emotional resilience, we are better equipped to handle the challenges of love without losing our sense of self or compromising our values. Another key Stoic principle that supports self-love is the focus on virtue. Stoics believe that true fulfillment comes from living a virtuous life, acting with wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. When we align our actions with these virtues, we not only improve ourselves, but also contribute positively to the relationships we form. A strong sense of self-love, rooted in virtue, ensures that we are bringing our best self to the relationship, rather than seeking to fulfill a partner's expectations or trying to mold ourselves into someone we're not. By embracing virtue, we are able to engage in relationships that are healthy, respectful, and supportive, as both partners are guided by the same moral compass and mutual respect. In relationships, self-love through Stoicism also helps us maintain a sense of detachment. This does not mean withdrawing emotionally, but rather cultivating a mindset where our sense of self-worth is not solely dependent on the approval or actions of our partner. Stoicism teaches that while love and connection are deeply fulfilling, we should not become overly attached to outcomes or expectations. The practice of detachment allows us to maintain a sense of inner peace, regardless of the circumstances of the relationship. This emotional independence is crucial for fostering a healthy dynamic in romantic relationships, as it enables both partners to retain their individual identities while growing together. When we love ourselves enough to not rely on another person for validation, we create a more secure and balanced relationship where both individuals can thrive independently and as a couple. Finally, Stoicism encourages continuous self-improvement. A Stoic approach to self-love means that we are constantly striving to become better versions of ourselves. In a romantic context, this ongoing growth benefits both individuals, as each partner brings their best self to the relationship. By focusing on self-improvement, we not only enhance our own lives, but also create an environment where our partner feels encouraged to grow as well. This mutual growth leads to a relationship that evolves over time, becoming deeper and more meaningful as both partners support each other's journey. Number 7. Overcoming fear and doubt in love. How Stoic principles help you embrace vulnerability. Fear and doubt are natural emotions that often arise when we are in love. Whether it's the fear of rejection, the uncertainty about the future, or the anxiety of exposing our true selves, these emotions can create barriers to forming deep, meaningful connections. However, Stoic philosophy offers powerful tools to overcome these feelings and embrace vulnerability, which is crucial for building authentic and lasting relationships. Rather than allowing fear and doubt to control our actions, Stoicism teaches us to face them with courage, rationality, and emotional resilience, helping us open our hearts and navigate the complexities of love with a sense of calm and strength. At the core of Stoicism is the belief that we cannot control external events or the actions of others, but we can control how we respond to them. In the context of love, this means that while we cannot guarantee the outcome of a relationship, we can control our own emotional responses. Fear often arises from the uncertainty of not knowing what will happen next, whether it's about the future of a relationship or the potential for emotional pain. Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, attitudes, and actions, rather than becoming overwhelmed by things beyond our control. By accepting that we cannot predict or control the future, we can let go of the anxiety that fear and doubt create, and instead approach love with an open mind and heart. One of the key Stoic principles that helps overcome fear in love is the concept of accepting what we cannot change. Stoics teach that life is full of uncertainties, and much of the fear we experience stems from trying to control outcomes that are outside of our reach. In love, this might manifest as the fear of being hurt or rejected, or the doubt that our partner will stay with us. By practicing acceptance, we come to understand that we cannot control how someone else feels or what the future holds. Instead of fearing these uncertainties, Stoicism teaches us to embrace them as part of the human experience. This acceptance allows us to face vulnerability without the constant fear of negative outcomes, knowing that whatever happens, we can handle it with grace and resilience. Another Stoic tool for overcoming fear and doubt is the practice of cognitive reframing, or changing the way we perceive challenging situations. In love, fear and doubt often stem from negative thought patterns, such as assuming the worst outcome or catastrophizing potential conflicts. Stoics encourage us to examine our thoughts and beliefs critically, questioning their validity and replacing them with more rational, constructive perspectives. For example, if we fear rejection, we can reframe that fear by reminding ourselves that rejection is a natural part of life, not a reflection of our worth. This shift in perspective helps reduce the power of fear and doubt, making us more open and willing to be vulnerable in our relationships. Stoicism also teaches the value of emotional resilience, the ability to maintain inner peace and stability regardless of external circumstances. Fear and doubt often arise from the idea that we need a specific outcome in order to be happy or fulfilled. In relationships, this can lead to dependence on the other person for validation or security. However, Stoicism encourages us to cultivate a sense of emotional self-sufficiency, knowing that our happiness does not rely on external factors. By developing emotional resilience, we become less susceptible to fear and doubt because we trust in our own ability to cope with whatever challenges may come our way. This sense of inner strength allows us to approach love with a sense of calm and confidence, knowing that we can handle the vulnerabilities that come with it. A crucial aspect of embracing vulnerability in love is the practice of self-awareness. Stoics believed that knowing oneself is key to living a virtuous and fulfilling life. In relationships, self-awareness helps us understand our own fears, doubts, and emotional needs, allowing us to approach love with authenticity. When we are aware of our own insecurities, we are better equipped to address them and prevent them from sabotaging our relationships. Self-awareness also helps us communicate openly with our partner, expressing our fears and desires in a constructive way. By being honest about our emotions, we create a space for vulnerability, where both partners can be open with each other and build trust. Stoicism also teaches the importance of detachment, not in the sense of withdrawing emotionally, but in the sense of letting go of the need to control or possess another person. This principle helps us overcome the fear of losing someone or the doubt that the relationship will work out. Detachment allows us to focus on the present moment and enjoy the connection we have without being overly attached to future outcomes or fearing potential loss. In love, this detachment fosters a sense of freedom, where both partners can be themselves without the pressure of expectations or the fear of failure. By practicing detachment, we can enjoy love more fully, knowing that we are not dependent on it for our sense of worth or happiness. In addition to detachment, Stoicism encourages the practice of virtue, which involves living according to wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. In relationships, these virtues help us build a strong foundation of trust, respect, and emotional balance. When we practice virtue, we approach love with integrity, courage, and fairness, which allows us to face fear and doubt with confidence. For example, the virtue of courage helps us overcome the fear of vulnerability, while wisdom helps us make thoughtful decisions about our relationships. By embodying these virtues, we become better partners, more capable of navigating the uncertainties of love with a clear sense of purpose and direction. Finally, Stoicism teaches us to embrace the present moment rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Fear and doubt often arise from our tendency to ruminate on past experiences or imagine worst-case scenarios for the future. Stoics encourage us to focus on the here and now, appreciating the connection we have in the present moment. By doing so, we can reduce the influence of fear and doubt, allowing us to experience love more fully and authentically. This mindfulness practice not only helps us embrace vulnerability, but also fosters a deeper, more meaningful connection with our partner, grounded in the present rather than overshadowed by past insecurities or future anxieties. Number 8. The art of authenticity. How Stoic values help you show your true self in love. In relationships, authenticity is key to building trust, connection, and long-lasting bonds. However, many of us struggle with showing our true selves due to fears of judgment, rejection, or the desire to please others. Stoicism, with its focus on self-awareness, virtue, and emotional resilience, offers profound insights into how we can embrace our authentic selves in love. By applying Stoic principles, we can shed the masks we wear and confidently express our true nature in relationships, fostering deeper connections based on mutual respect, honesty, and understanding. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea of living in accordance with our true nature, acting in alignment with our values and virtues regardless of external circumstances. Stoics believe that we are at our best when we live authentically, guided by reason and virtue rather than societal expectations or fleeting emotions. In the context of love, this means being honest about who we are, what we value, and what we need from our relationships. Instead of hiding behind facades to gain approval or avoid conflict, Stoicism encourages us to show up in love as our truest selves, grounded in integrity and self-awareness. One of the foundational Stoic principles that support authenticity is the emphasis on self-knowledge. To be authentic in relationships, we must first understand ourselves, our strengths, weaknesses, desires, and fears. Stoics teach that self-reflection and introspection are essential for living a virtuous life. By taking the time to understand our own motivations, we are better equipped to express ourselves clearly and honestly to our partner. This self-awareness allows us to communicate openly about our feelings, needs, and boundaries, creating a space for mutual understanding and genuine connection. When we understand ourselves deeply, we are less likely to get lost in the desire to meet someone else's expectations or conform to external pressures. In relationships, fear of rejection or conflict often leads us to suppress our true selves in order to fit into what we think our partner wants. However, Stoicism teaches us to embrace our imperfections and recognize that we are not defined by others' opinions of us. According to Stoic philosophy, external circumstances are outside of our control, but our internal responses are within our power. This principle encourages us to let go of the need for constant validation from our partner and instead focus on staying true to our values and principles. Authenticity in love does not require perfection, but rather a willingness to be vulnerable and honest, embracing both our strengths and flaws with self-compassion and understanding. Stoic values also teach the importance of virtue in relationships. The Stoics believed that the highest good lies in living a life of virtue, acting with wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. In love, these virtues guide us toward authenticity by helping us make decisions that align with our highest principles. For example, wisdom helps us discern when to speak up about our true feelings, while courage empowers us to face difficult conversations and confront uncomfortable truths. Justice encourages us to treat our partner with fairness and respect, honoring both their needs and our own. By cultivating virtue, we create a strong foundation of authenticity in our relationships, where both partners can be themselves without fear of judgment or exploitation. A key Stoic practice that promotes authenticity in love is acceptance of what is outside of our control. In relationships, we often find ourselves worrying about how our partner will react to our true self or whether they will accept us for who we are. Stoicism teaches us to accept that we cannot control others' reactions or opinions. What we can control is how we present ourselves and how we respond to the dynamics of the relationship. This acceptance allows us to express our true selves without the burden of trying to please or manipulate our partner. It also helps us approach love with a sense of freedom, knowing that our worth is not contingent on the approval of others, but on our own integrity and authenticity. Another Stoic principle that supports authenticity is detachment. This doesn't mean withdrawing emotionally, but rather freeing ourselves from unhealthy attachments or expectations. Stoics teach that attachment to external outcomes, such as needing a partner's approval or affection, can lead to anxiety and inauthentic behavior. Detachment allows us to maintain a sense of inner peace and self-sufficiency, which empowers us to be authentic in relationships. When we are detached from the need for constant validation or control over the relationship, we can engage more honestly and openly with our partner, creating a space for mutual growth and connection. Detachment helps us let go of the fear of rejection, knowing that our self-worth is not tied to the relationship's success, but to the integrity with which we approach it. In addition to detachment, Stoicism encourages emotional resilience, which is crucial for maintaining authenticity in love. Relationships are often fraught with ups and downs, and emotional turbulence can make it difficult to remain true to ourselves. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot always control our emotions, we can control how we react to them. By developing emotional resilience, we can weather the emotional highs and lows of love without losing our sense of self. This resilience helps us stay grounded in our values, ensuring that our reactions align with our true feelings rather than being influenced by fear, insecurity, or external pressures. Furthermore, Stoicism highlights the importance of moderation in all aspects of life, including relationships. In love, this means avoiding extremes, such as overdependence on a partner or excessively idealizing them. By practicing moderation, we can remain true to ourselves while also nurturing the relationship in a balanced way. This principle of moderation helps us avoid the trap of losing ourselves in the pursuit of love, and instead encourages us to maintain a healthy sense of individuality within the relationship. Authenticity thrives in a space where both partners can be themselves without feeling overwhelmed or diminished by the other. Number 9. Stoic wisdom for navigating relationship conflict. Turning vulnerability into strength. Conflict is an inevitable part of any relationship, and how we respond to it can significantly influence the health and longevity of our connection. Often, conflict arises from differences in values, communication styles, or unmet expectations, leading to tension and emotional turmoil. In such moments, the instinct might be to defend ourselves, suppress our feelings, or even withdraw. However, Stoic philosophy offers a powerful approach to navigating conflict with calm, clarity, and emotional resilience, turning vulnerability into a source of strength. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that while we cannot control external events, we can control our reactions to them. In the context of relationship conflict, this means that while we cannot always control the actions or feelings of our partner, we can control how we respond. Stoics teach us to approach conflict with reason, rather than being driven by impulse or unchecked emotion. When faced with disagreement or tension, we can take a step back, breathe, and choose to respond thoughtfully, rather than reacting impulsively out of frustration or anger. This self-control is not about suppressing emotions, but about allowing ourselves to process them in a healthy and constructive way. One of the key Stoic principles that help in navigating conflict is acceptance of what is beyond our control. In relationships, it is common to feel frustrated or hurt when our partner behaves in ways that we don't understand or agree with. However, Stoics remind us that we cannot control how others think or act, only how we react to them. By accepting this, we free ourselves from the need to fix or change our partner's behavior, which often leads to unnecessary conflict. Instead, we focus on how we can best respond to the situation, based on our own values and principles. This acceptance reduces the emotional charge of conflict, allowing us to approach the issue with more clarity and less reactivity. Another Stoic concept that is particularly helpful in conflict is the practice of virtue. Stoics believe that living a virtuous life, guided by wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation, leads to inner peace and a stronger ability to handle adversity. In the heat of a relationship conflict, it can be easy to let emotions like anger or resentment take over. However, Stoic virtues remind us to approach the situation with wisdom, seeing the bigger picture and considering the long-term impact of our words and actions. Justice calls for fairness and respect in communication, ensuring that both parties' perspectives are heard and valued. Courage allows us to face difficult truths and express our own feelings honestly, even when vulnerable. Moderation helps us avoid extremes, ensuring that we don't escalate the conflict unnecessarily or retreat into silence. Vulnerability itself can become a powerful tool in Stoic conflict resolution. While vulnerability is often seen as a weakness in the face of conflict, Stoicism teaches us that it is actually a strength. By being open about our emotions, needs, and concerns, we create an environment of trust and transparency in the relationship. Rather than hiding behind defensiveness or denial, we allow ourselves to be seen fully by our partner, demonstrating emotional courage. This act of vulnerability invites our partner to do the same, promoting mutual understanding and compassion. In Stoic terms, vulnerability can be seen as an exercise in honesty and integrity, allowing us to align our inner thoughts with our outer expressions. In conflict, Stoics also emphasize the power of perspective. Often we get caught up in the heat of the moment, viewing the conflict from a narrow, personal point of view. This leads to an us versus them mentality, where we focus on winning the argument rather than resolving the issue. Stoicism encourages us to adopt a broader perspective, reminding us that relationships are not about individual victory, but about mutual growth and understanding. When we view conflict as an opportunity for both partners to learn and evolve, we are more likely to approach it with patience and openness. By adopting this larger view, we can step back from our own egos and see the issue from our partner's perspective, which can help us communicate more effectively and reach a resolution that benefits both parties. Another powerful Stoic tool for conflict resolution is emotional resilience. Stoicism teaches us that life is full of challenges, and relationships are no different. However, rather than being overwhelmed by difficult emotions, we can develop resilience by training ourselves to respond with calm and reason, even in emotionally charged situations. In conflict, emotional resilience allows us to hold space for our own feelings without being overtaken by them. It also helps us remain grounded in our values and principles, even when we are faced with anger, frustration, or disappointment. By cultivating emotional resilience, we can navigate relationship conflict with a sense of inner strength and balance, which in turn enables us to stay connected to our partner even during challenging times. Lastly, Stoicism teaches us the importance of forgiveness and letting go. Conflict often leaves behind feelings of hurt or resentment, and these negative emotions can fester if not addressed. Stoic wisdom encourages us to forgive, not just for the sake of the relationship, but for our own peace of mind. Holding on to grudges only keeps us trapped in negative emotional states, preventing us from moving forward. Forgiveness, in the Stoic sense, is an act of freeing ourselves from the emotional burden of past wrongs, allowing us to respond with more clarity and compassion. Letting go of past grievances and focusing on the present moment helps us release the weight of conflict, enabling us to rebuild the relationship on a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. Number 10. Building enduring love. How Stoicism and vulnerability work together for long-lasting relationships. In the journey of love, one of the greatest challenges many people face is the fear of vulnerability. We often guard our hearts to protect ourselves from pain, disappointment, or rejection, believing that by building emotional walls, we can avoid hurt. However, this approach often leads to isolation and superficial connections. On the other hand, Stoicism, with its focus on emotional resilience, self-awareness, and rationality, provides powerful tools to not only embrace vulnerability, but also use it to build enduring love. By combining Stoic principles with the courage to be vulnerable, individuals can create relationships that are resilient, meaningful, and long-lasting. At its core, Stoicism teaches that we cannot control external events or others' behavior, but we can control our responses to them. This concept is crucial in relationships as it helps us navigate emotional ups and downs with a clear mind. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we are essentially opening ourselves up to the possibility of being hurt. But Stoicism teaches us that vulnerability does not equate to weakness. Instead, it is a powerful act of courage. It allows us to be authentic in our relationships, to share our true selves with our partner, and to trust that no matter the outcome, we will remain grounded in our sense of self-worth. Vulnerability fosters deep emotional intimacy, and Stoicism supports this by encouraging us to maintain emotional balance. Emotions are a natural part of the human experience, but Stoicism teaches us that we must not be ruled by them. Rather than suppressing our feelings or letting them control our actions, Stoicism invites us to acknowledge them, understand their root causes, and respond thoughtfully. In love, this means being open about our fears, desires, and needs, while also recognizing that we are responsible for how we react to any situation. This balance between vulnerability and emotional control helps cultivate relationships built on trust, mutual respect, and understanding. Moreover, Stoicism teaches us the importance of accepting what is beyond our control. In a relationship, this means understanding that we cannot control our partner's actions, feelings, or decisions. While we may express our desires and needs, we must accept that our partner has their own autonomy. By practicing acceptance, we can approach love with less attachment to specific outcomes. Instead, we focus on how we show up in the relationship, the quality of our actions, and how we remain true to our values. This reduces expectations and creates space for vulnerability, as we are no longer dependent on external validation. When both partners are secure in their own sense of self-worth, vulnerability becomes a bridge to deeper connection rather than a source of anxiety. The practice of self-awareness is another Stoic principle that strengthens love through vulnerability. To be truly vulnerable, we must first understand ourselves, our emotions, thoughts, and the stories we tell ourselves about love and relationships. By regularly reflecting on our own values and motivations, we can approach our partner with greater clarity and openness. Self-awareness helps us express our feelings honestly, even when it's difficult, and also enables us to listen attentively to our partner's needs. This mutual vulnerability creates a dynamic where both partners feel seen, heard, and valued, fostering emotional intimacy that strengthens the bond between them. Furthermore, emotional resilience is essential for enduring love. In any long-term relationship, challenges will arise, misunderstandings, disagreements, or even moments of emotional distance. Stoicism encourages us to develop resilience, not by avoiding pain, but by learning how to face it with grace and wisdom. When vulnerability is met with emotional resilience, partners can navigate difficult times together, knowing that even in moments of conflict or discomfort, the relationship can weather the storm. Emotional resilience enables us to bounce back from setbacks, communicate openly, and rebuild trust after challenging experiences. This process of overcoming adversity together can deepen the connection and lay a strong foundation for the relationship's longevity. One of the most profound Stoic teachings in the context of love is the value of virtue. Stoicism holds that the highest good is to live a life of virtue, guided by wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. In relationships, living virtuously means acting in alignment with these principles, even when faced with difficult emotions or challenging circumstances. For example, wisdom allows us to make thoughtful decisions in love, while courage enables us to be vulnerable and face our fears. Justice ensures that we treat our partner with fairness and respect, and moderation helps us avoid extremes, whether in our expectations or in our emotional responses. By cultivating these virtues, both partners contribute to a relationship that is balanced, harmonious, and enduring. Acceptance of imperfection is also a crucial aspect of building enduring love. In any long-term relationship, both partners will face moments of weakness, mistakes, and miscommunication. Stoicism teaches us that imperfection is a natural part of life and that we should not be discouraged by it. Instead of seeing flaws as threats to the relationship, we can view them as opportunities for growth and learning. By embracing imperfection and practicing forgiveness, both for ourselves and our partner, we can maintain a sense of compassion and understanding. This perspective allows vulnerability to flourish because we are not afraid of rejection or failure. We know that we are loved and accepted for who we truly are, flaws and all. Finally, commitment plays a crucial role in building long-lasting love, and Stoicism supports this by emphasizing the importance of staying true to our values and promises. Stoics believe in the power of disciplined action and focus, and in relationships, this means consistently showing up for our partner and upholding our commitments, even when times are tough. Vulnerability is an ongoing practice, and it requires trust that both partners are dedicated to the relationship and willing to work through challenges together. By committing to the relationship, we create a foundation of stability, security, and mutual support that fosters love and intimacy over time. Conclusion. In conclusion, building enduring love requires a delicate balance of vulnerability and emotional resilience, and Stoicism offers the tools to achieve this harmony. By embracing the Stoic principles of emotional control, acceptance, and virtue, we can approach love with a clear mind and an open heart, ready to face the challenges that come with any meaningful relationship. Vulnerability, often seen as a potential weakness, becomes a strength when combined with the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. It allows us to build deeper emotional connections, communicate authentically, and remain grounded in our values, even in the face of conflict or uncertainty. By practicing vulnerability with emotional resilience, we create relationships that are not only rooted in trust and understanding, but also able to withstand the inevitable ups and downs of life. Stoicism teaches us that love is not about controlling others or avoiding pain, but about showing up with honesty, patience, and courage, knowing that we can handle whatever comes our way. In this way, Stoicism and vulnerability work together to create relationships that are enduring, fulfilling, and built to last. When we combine the strength of vulnerability with the wisdom of Stoic principles, we lay the foundation for a love that grows deeper with time, remaining resilient through all of life's challenges.